My narcissistic aunt insulted my husband at a family dinner, said that he's good for nothing, and, well, secretly, I know how to get back at her, but I'm wondering, is it too far? I don't know, but let me ask you after I give you some more details. Have you ever dealt with troublesome relatives who meddle in your life unnecessarily? If your answer is a resounding yes, then you can actually help me out here. If not, then you guys have the chance to see how stupid some people can be. So, I'm Fiona, and the particular relative I'm talking about is my Aunt Beth. She's been a thorn in my side for some time now, but things have gotten a little out of hand lately, and it's been making me mad. My problem here is that my Aunt Beth has never liked my husband Jeremy, since the moment she met him, and the reason for her great dislike towards Jeremy is really stupid. But before we get into that, let me just tell you guys why my aunt's opinion of my husband matters to me, and it's bothering me so much. As many of you must be wondering why I care about some distant relative's opinion on my life. Well, basically, my parents passed away when I was 18. Though I was capable of making a life of my own without having to rely on anybody, I still needed emotional support. And that's what my aunt has been to me. Even though we have a pretty large extended family who were all there for me in that tough time, it was my aunt who was closest to me clearly. My Aunt Beth and my mother's sister, and since my parents' death, she took it upon herself to be there for me emotionally whenever I needed someone. Her daughter, Mia, and, she have been a good persons to me all these years. Though Mia and I are not as close as I am with my aunt, she's still among what I consider my closest family. So you can see how much these people mean to me and how their thoughts and opinions on my life affect me a lot. It all must seem like they're good people, right? So where's the problem? The problem is my aunt's narrow-mindedness. Her way of thinking is so orthodox that she fails to accept anything that isn't done accordingly to societal conventions. And this is the reason for her great dislike for my husband Jeremy. As I mentioned earlier, my aunt had disliked Jeremy since I introduced him to her. Considering her as my closest family, I really wanted Jeremy to get along with her, but it went the opposite of what I imagined. On the first meet, my aunt had started taunting Jeremy about his job, saying it doesn't suit a man to do such a job. See, Jeremy owns a nail art studio, and it's not like he's doing well in it. Come on, it's his business. It's prospering, and he had 3 branches in the city. He's doing great. So you can say he's pretty well established in the business and is comfortably rich. I guess that's good enough for my family. A point of view if I want to settle with a guy. But it was simply never going to be enough for my aunt because that woman could never see beyond the fact that he owned a nail salon. You could say my aunt is sexist. According to her, my husband was doing a job that's meant for women. I know it all sounds a little bizarre. It actually bothered me a lot when my aunt's views overshadowed my husband's achievements. In her eyes, and she did not approve of our marriage at all. After the first meeting, my aunt tried her best to convince me that I should just not get married to Jeremy. She always pointed out how he would be an embarrassment to us when she would have to treat him as family. She even went ahead to say that I should spare her the torture of accepting him into the family. It was all too crazy and difficult for me because it seemed I had to choose between my family and my love. Don't take it wrong, I was genuinely grateful for whatever my aunt did for me. But at that time, I knew I had to choose Jeremy. He was the man I fell in love with, and I could not let him go because of some illogical opinion my aunt had. I was proud of him, and I knew that I'd never be embarrassed of the work that he did. I knew how hard that he had worked to achieve all that, and honestly, who even decides these gender-based jobs? So it all sounded silly to me, and I married Jeremy, even when I knew it might cause a rift between my aunt and me. And that's exactly what happened because my aunt ended up creating a whole scene at my wedding about how I did not take her feelings into account before marrying Jeremy. Naturally, you can guess how, since that day, there's been this distance between us. You know, we're not as close as we were. We do see each other on occasion. She even invited me to Mia's wedding, which was a few months back, so it's like that, we're maintaining a formal relationship for the sake of the family. However, she never leaves a chance to slip in snide remarks about Jeremy during these meetups. I usually just ignore them, thinking of them as a harmless comment. However, yesterday, She took things to another level when she humiliated Jeremy in front of everyone during a family dinner. All of my extended family were present there, including my aunt, Mia, and Mia's husband, Kyle. Everything was going swell until my aunt started talking about her new son-in-law and how he's a rich architect. I had no problem with my aunt boasting about her perfect son-in-law. She could do it all she wanted, but my problem started when she started comparing Kyle to Jeremy. My aunt just went on and on about how Kyle was doing a respectable, manly job while Jeremy was still stuck with his effeminate ways. This caused me anger, and I had it pent up inside of me, as I was really furious at my aunt. Until now, she used to pass these snide remarks when it was just Jeremy and me. But insulting my husband in front of the whole extended family, that's something that I can't let slide. Not only did she just call Jeremy's job feminine, she went ahead to call him a disgrace to the whole family name. You know what? That is my final straw. All this time I've been bearing with her just because she was there for me when I needed her. I didn't want to sound like an ingrate, but now she had crossed all the limits to insanity. I can't seriously believe that I used to be close to her. This all led to an argument on the dinner table, and the rest of the family was shocked to see us fight like that. I guess we can't blame them because, well, they've been accustomed to seeing us get along well, except for a few incidents here and there, like my wedding. But I don't care. I don't care about what others think of the relationship between my aunt and me. Right now, all that matters to me is protecting my husband's reputation. I can't let my family insult him like that. Me staying shut about this would only make Jeremy insecure about it. I don't want him to think that I'm embarrassed of him or anything, because I'm not. I'm very proud of my husband and his achievements, and I can't let him doubt that even for a second, because of my aunt's crazy antics. There's another interesting thing that happened at the dinner yesterday. It got my attention all right. Before the whole incident of my aunt insulting Jeremy, I happened to eavesdrop on a conversation between my aunt and Mia. It was very, very confusing. Mia was crying and telling my aunt that she could not do it anymore. My aunt was shouting at her about how she had to keep the act up, or she would know the consequences. I was pretty confused at the time, not knowing what was going on there. I ignored it, thinking it must have been some personal conversation. But now, when I think back about it, what could this whole thing even be about? Is Mia's life not as perfect as her mother claims it to be? Or is her mom threatening her or something? I was going to ignore the whole thing, but now I don't know anymore. I'm pretty furious at my aunt, and I honestly want to teach her a lesson. Call me evil, but I think that maybe, if I find out whatever they were talking about, I can use it against them. What do you guys think? Am I reading too much into the situation? Should I actually go and find out what the whole thing was about? I just want to make sure that I teach my aunt a lesson, because letting go is not an option anymore. If you have any ideas on how I can give her a taste of her own medicine, do let me know. Until then, goodbye. I'll update you soon. Update number 1. Hey guys, I know it's been a month since I last posted, but here I am, and I found out crazy things in the past month. As I mentioned in my initial post, my Aunt Beth had insulted my husband Jeremy during a family dinner, where all of our extended family was present. That's not all. She not only insulted my husband, but also boasted about her daughter's hubby and the perfect life that they had, but guess what? Mia's life is actually not as perfect as her mother claims. Instead, it's the complete opposite, baby. But before getting into what I found out and how I found it out, I would like to reply to just a few comments. I never expected to receive such support from you guys, by the way, but believe me, you supporting my decision and choices is all the validation I wanted until now. But there were also a few people believing that whatever my aunt did was a result of how I chose my husband over her. Well, guys, I understand that she must have been hurt by that, but you guys should also understand that I was hurt. My aunt, the person closest to me dearest, was insulting my husband based on an idiotic, stubborn opinion she had. My decisions were also justified, but if you still fail to understand that, then maybe you share the same narrow-mindedness that she does. Now, getting back to the whole situation at hand. In my original post, I mentioned how I accidentally eavesdropped on a conversation between my aunt and Mia. It got me curious, and I finally decided to look into it. And the thing I found out was totally unexpected. I started to observe Mia during family gatherings and in general. I'd already noticed this thing a bit for some time, but never thought much about it. What I observed, was her for many, many days. I realized that my hunch was right. It seemed that Mia was a bit distant from her mother and her husband lately. Likely she didn't seem very happy around old Kyle, and she mostly used to be quiet around Aunt Beth. I know this might seem like a simple thing, but knowing Mia, this was somewhat weird. And when I thought about it again, I remembered that she had been like this since she got married to Kyle. It all didn't mean much to me before, but now it's got me curious. I mean, if there was any beef between Mia and Aunt Beth, or if Mia was having trouble with her perfect rich hubby, then why would Aunt Beth rub it in our faces like that, So that's when I decided to follow Mia and investigate the thing further in the hopes of finding out something to use against my aunt. And well, you could say, I hit the absolute jackpot. For some time, all my attempts to find something about why Mia was acting this way went in vain, because most of the times Mia would just go to work, go back home. It was like Mia and Kyle had the most boring marriage ever since they didn't go out much. And considering it's been just a few months since they got married, it was all a bit fishy, and it didn't make sense to me until last week. So, for the past few days, I've been trailing Mia, as you know, and just when I was about to give up on my fruitless attempt, I found something very shocking. So last Sunday, I followed Mia to a mall with a friend of hers, but I realized that they were more than just buddies. When they went to the parking lot and started making out, kissing, as soon as they sat in the car. Yep, there was Mia kissing a woman. Yep, I was shocked. I'm not against it or anything, but it was a surprise that I didn't know something as huge as that about my cousin, you know. Well, but it just didn't make sense to me. Why was Mia married to Kyle if she was seeing another woman? Naturally, I took some pictures of Mia and the girl kissing. Duh. I mean, I had to collect evidence, right, if I'm going to push comes to shove. Well, that's not all the evidence I found. I followed Mia and that girl again yesterday and captured some other moments of them being very, very close to each other. All I can think about right now is how would my Orthodox aunt react when she finds out what's going on in her daughter's perfect little married life. As of now, I'm not planning to tell her myself. I know this whole thing is very sensitive and I don't want to create trouble for Mia. She did not insult my husband. She was just supporting her mother in her stupidity. I know that this is also wrong on some level, but I can't just out my cousin like that. I don't know what else to do with the discovery, so I've straight away decided to confront Mia about the same. What do you guys think? Should I confront Mia about it, or should I take another course of action? Please let me know what you would do. Update number 2, 4 days later. This time I'm actually full of rage. I believe I'm about to make some very questionable decisions that a lot of you might not approve of. As I mentioned in my last update, I've decided to confront Mia about her involvement with a woman. I decided so because I didn't want to punish Mia for something her mother did. But I guess the apple, it doesn't fall far from that tree now, does it, buddy? And to think that I actually wanted to help Mia and was thinking in her favor sounds insane to me right now. Well, guess what? I went to talk to Mia about the whole thing, and I was very wrong in thinking that she would be humble or emotional about it. But the woman has inherited all her mother's traits because Mia was very rude to me the entire time that I was there. Basically, I decided to meet her and informed her about what I had seen. I did not show her the pictures or anything for 2 reasons. Firstly, I genuinely wanted to help her and did not want to make it seem like I was blackmailing her or something. Secondly, call me evil, but I didn't want to reveal my trump card in case I ever had to use it in the future. But my intentions to help Mia, they went downhill, right down the drain, the moment I talked to her about the whole thing. See, Mia was very shocked at first, but then she straight away started shouting at me that I was just trying to humiliate her, quote, because of what my mother did during the family dinner. I was shocked, why would I come up with something like that? I tried to reason with her about how I actually want to help her. I told her that I would only be able to help once I understood why she was married to Kyle, and yet seeing another woman. Mia just straight up refused to agree to any of it, guys. So I just told her that I would stay shut about the entire secret conversation on one condition. The condition was that Mia had to convince her mother to give a public apology to my husband in front of all the family members. Mia laughed about it, and she actually seemed like a maniac at the time, laughing and telling me that her mother would never do that. So I simply told her that, okay, in that case, I would have to reveal her secret to her mom. This is when Mia lost it and almost had an emotional breakdown. She shouted at me, "What do you think? My mother doesn't know I'm into girls." That's where everything came to light for me, that hushed conversation I accidentally eavesdropped on. Mia crying and saying that she can't do it anymore. Overpowered by her emotions, Mia gave me clarity on everything. I guess she herself didn't realize what all she was telling me about. So it turns out that just a few months before Mia's wedding, my Aunt Beth had found out about Mia's sexuality, and that's when she forcefully got Mia married to Kyle, just because he was rich. She told Mia that if Mia agreed to marry her mother's choice, she could continue seeing the girl in secrecy. But if she came out in the open, my aunt threatened that she would be cut off from the whole family. That's the reason why Mia agreed to the whole thing and has been keeping quiet about it since. The whole reason's crazy. I mean, it just shows what a hypocrite my aunt was. She insulted my husband for a feminine job while she herself was hiding such a big secret about her own daughter? I couldn't believe it. After hearing all this, I felt bad for Mia. I tried to comfort her and told her that I would help her. And that's when things just drastically changed. Mia turned from emotional to angry and disgusted in a second. She pushed me very violently and told me that she didn't need help from a woman who was married to such a pushover. This one statement of hers actually made me furious than ever before. Like I was there trying to help this woman, but she just returned the favor by insulting my hubby. This is one thing I don't take. All this time I thought she was not like her mother, but in reality she's bad as her. I don't know why she's being an arrogant brat right now, but if she wishes to be rude to me while I was trying to help her, then she must not blame me for what I'm about to do. I still have all the evidence I need to ruin her mother and her. Guys, I'm literally very furious right now, and though it was never my plan to use those pictures, now it seems like a good option. So tell me, would it be too cruel if I used those pictures and the whole thing that Mia told me against her mother and herself? Update number 3. Hey guys, it's been a few weeks since my last update, but I'm here writing this because I did something crazy. I know a lot of you wanted me to be the big person in the whole situation, but honestly I just could not let it go. I couldn't let go of how my aunt and Mia insulted my husband. I wanted to teach them a lesson, and I did. Some of you might find it extreme, but I did what I had to do. I'm sort of satisfied with the revenge I got. So as I mentioned in my last update, I wanted to help Mia, but she insulted me further. All her actions toward me and her insults directed at my husband drove any last bit of sympathy I had towards her away. I realized that her mom and she were the same person who thought that they could just trample on anyone's feelings, but they didn't know what it felt like when the humiliation was directed their way. So I made them feel exactly that. Last night was my distant uncle's birthday, and all of our extended family gathered there. Naturally, for a person looking for revenge, for any chance to publicly humiliate the ones that did wrong, this was the perfect chance, so I took it. Once the cake cutting was done, I called for an attention as I had to tell them about something. Mia might have been expecting this, but she was confident that nobody would believe me, probably thinking that nobody would doubt a woman who married a man like this. I mean, that was what she thought and said to me during our last interaction. Little did she know I had a proof of her big secret. Not just that, I forgot to mention it in the last update, that when I went to see Mia, I also carried a recorder with me just in case. So now I not only had the pictures I took, but also the recordings of the conversation that went on between me and Mia. And that's what I played on the screen. All the pictures and the clear conversations of Mia talking about how her mother forced her to marry Kyle for the money. Everybody was so shocked to hear it. But there was one person who was the most astounded, and that was Kyle himself. He stared blankly at the screen as if he was still processing what the heck's going on. I felt somewhat bad for him because no matter how arrogant he was about his money, this guy deserved a girl that loved him genuinely. All of us deserve it, right? Even Mia did, but her ways of getting it were questionable. Just after my announcement, hell was unleashed in the venue. Everybody started gossiping and throwing disgusting looks at my aunt and Mia. Did I ever tell you that my ex-extended family is Orthodox Catholic, and the whole idea of, well, what Mia does was a sin to them? So there was people even considering cutting Mia off from the family. But not just Mia, no. Also my aunt for her betrayal. Kyle left in his anger amidst the whispers, and I don't know what decision is going to be taken about Mia. The same goes for my family, and I don't know what they're doing about it now, but I can bet whatever they do will teach them a lesson they'll remember for a lifetime. My extended family is going to have a family meeting next Sunday. They've been calling my grandparents, which is my mother's parents, to decide what should be done to this situation. So all I can do is wait for whatever decision they come with. Until then, tell me, did I do the right thing or did I do something way too extreme? Let me know. Final updates. Hey guys, it's been 3 months since my last update, and I know it's a long time, and a lot of you wanted an update, and, well, what happened at the family meeting? Here I am. This is it, so don't expect another update. Before getting into what happened at the family meeting, let me tell you what decisions Kyle took. So Kyle had filed for a divorce against Mia, and she not even was getting alimony because of the cheating clause mentioned in their prenup. So my aunt was purposely of getting Mia married to Kyle, well, his money, and the fact that she didn't even get it's kind of funny. Now, about what my grandparents decided. They've decided to totally cut Mia off, and my aunt, from the family. They've been shunned from attending any future family gatherings or anything, and this might not be a big thing for you guys, but considering how my aunt was so fond of these things, it ought to hurt her pretty bad. And she's honestly miserable, because not only did my grandparents cut her off from the family, they kicked her out of the will. Other than that, this fiasco has led to a feud between Mia and my aunt, because both of them are blaming each other for their fate. And when that wasn't even clear, Mia ran away with her girl. No one knows where she is right now, so at last my aunt is left all alone and miserable with just some petty savings that she used to make ends meet. I guess that's what you get for unnecessarily troubling others. I do have some remorse about how I had to take extreme action against them, but I believe they brought that upon themselves. Well, as for Jeremy and me, we're living a good life. Jeremy is about to open another branch of his business in the city. This can be actually really good for us, so wish me luck. Anyways, that's it from my side.